The Architecture of the Void, an anthropological investigation into embodied, non-institutional meaning-making. 1. Introduction. The neuro-evolutionary necessity of construction. In the vast expanse of human history, the pursuit of meaning has traditionally been categorized within the domains of religion, philosophy, or social ideology. Anthropological orthodoxy and historical analysis have long favored the text, the temple, and the spoken creed as the primary vehicles through which human beings orient themselves in the cosmos. We study the prayer, the sermon, and the written law to understand how cultures construct reality. However, a shadow lineage of meaning-making exists, operating in parallel to these institutional structures, a lineage not of belief, but of doing. This is the lineage of the deep construction state. From the hominin knapping flint in the Lower Paleolithic to the software architect navigating the abstract topography of a codebase, there exists a recurrent, distinct mode of human consciousness. It is characterized subjectively by the dissolution of the self-referential ego, the distortion of temporal perception, and the emergence of complex symbolic structures. It is characterized objectively by specific neurophysiological markers, transient hypofrontality, somatic entrainment, and theta wave synchronization. Crucially, the state does not rely on doctrine, hierarchy, or prescribed ceremony. It relies on the rigorous, rhythmic, and high-stakes manipulation of the material, or digital, environment. This report posits that these deep construction states are not merely psychological byproducts of labor or aesthetic absorption. Rather, they represent a fundamental, neuro-evolutionary adaptation, a cognitive craftsmanship, that allowed early humans to impose order on a chaotic environment and allows modern humans to survive the fragmenting pressures of the information age. By engaging with the resistance of the material world, the human mind enters a stabilizing feedback loop that generates identity and meaning without the need for metaphysical belief. We define non-institutional meaning-making as those practices where the authority of the experience is derived from the efficacy of the action itself, rather than from an external social or religious structure. When a wheelwright trues a wheel, the truth of the object is not granted by a priest, it is granted by the physics of the wheel. If it wobbles, it is false. If it spins true, it is valid. This material honesty creates a specific type of cognitive clarity, a void of pure function, that this report investigates as the primary site of secular spiritual experience. 1.1 Theoretical Framework for E-cognition and the extended mind. To understand the deep construction state, we must abandon the internalist view of the mind that has dominated Western psychology since Descartes. The internalist view suggests that thinking is a computation that happens inside the brain, and the body is merely a robot that executes the brain's commands. In this view, a tool is just an object, and a ritual is just a performance of an internal belief. This analysis adopts the framework of 4E cognition, which argues that the mind is *embodied. Cognition is deeply dependent upon the physical body's interactions with the world. The way we understand, grasping, a concept is rooted in the motor neural capacity to grasp a stone. *embedded. Cognition functions within a specific environmental context. *enacted. Knowledge is generated through action, not just stored as data. *extended. The mind extends beyond the skull into the tools and artifacts we use. Within this framework, the deep construction state is a system state involving the brain, the body, and the tool. When a master craftsman is in flow, the neural circuit literally extends to the tip of the tool. The tool becomes part of the sensory processing system. The meaning generated in this state is not an abstract thought, it is an enacted reality. The napper does not think about symmetry, they enact symmetry through the stone. This report will traverse 3 major epochs to map the trajectory of the state: the Paleolithic, where the state evolved; the pre-modern, where it was professionalized by shamans and guilds; and the modern, where it is fractured by digital disembodiment. It concludes with a proposal for cognitive craftsmanship as a necessary therapeutic and stabilizing framework for the contemporary subject. 2. The Paleolithic baseline, lithic reduction and the birth of the deep state. The origins of the deep construction state are found not in the cave painting, which appears relatively late in the archaeological record, but in the stone tool. For over 2 million years, the primary intellectual output of the genus Homo was the modification of stone. This was not a mindless rote task, It was a high-frequency cognitive operation that laid the neural foundations for what we now call focus. 2.1 The cognitive demands of the Acheulean hand axe. The shift from the simple old-down chopper, 2.6 ma, to the symmetric Acheulean hand axe, 1.76 ma, represents a massive leap in cognitive capability. Old-down tools are opportunistic, they follow the path of least resistance in the stone. Acheulean tools, however, impose an arbitrary, predetermined form, symmetry, onto the material. This process, known as lithic reduction, requires a sophisticated cognitive architecture. The napper must maintain a goal state, the mental template of the teardrop shape, in working memory for hours, while simultaneously navigating a series of irreversible subtractive steps. This requires hierarchical planning. You cannot just strike the stone anywhere. You must prepare a platform, then strike to remove a flake, which creates a new platform for the next strike. A single error in the sequence can ruin the entire tool. Table 1. Cognitive requirements of lithic reduction vs. Modern cognition. Cognitive function, lithic reduction, Acheulean, modern analogs, neural substrate. Hierarchical planning, platform preparation, right arrow strike, right arrow flake coding, function, right arrow loop, right arrow variable, prefrontal cortex PFC, Broca's area, inhibitory control, resisting the urge to strike heavily, delicate retouching, surgical restraint, debugging code, anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, working memory, holding the 3D shape template while rotating the core, holding complex variables, logic trees, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, DLPFC, somatic feedback, evaluating strike angle and force while proprioception, playing an instrument. High-end gaming, somatosensory cortex, cerebellum. Research utilizing fMRI and PET scans of modern subjects engaged in stone tool making corroborates that this activity activates the inferior frontal gyrus and the premotor cortex, the same regions utilized for complex language processing and hierarchical grammar. This suggests that the deep construction state required for tool making is arguably the evolutionary precursor to the deep linguistic state required for speech. We learn to organize matter before we learn to organize words. 2.2 Material engagement theory, met thinking is thinking. To fully grasp the meaning-making aspect of this, we turn to material engagement theory, met championed by archaeologist Limbros Maleficaris. Traditional cognitive science views the tool as a passive object acted upon by an active mind. Met argues the opposite, the mind is shaped by the tool. This is the concept of thinking primarily through and with things. In the deep construction state, the boundary between the napper and the flint dissolves. The napper enters a dialogue with the material. The stone has affordances, it offers possibilities, a ridge that can be struck, a flower that must be avoided. The meaning of the hand axe is not a symbolic representation of a perfect shape stored in the brain, the meaning emerges from the rhythmic negotiation between the hand and the stone. The inactive sign, Maleficaris distinguishes between representational signs, symbols that stand for something else, like the word, axe, and inactive signs, material forms that bring forth meaning. The hand axe is an inactive sign. It solidifies the concept of symmetry and efficacy in the physical world. This is the proto-ritual. There is no priest involved. The ritual is the act of imposing order on chaos through the skilled application of force. The trance of the napper, the altered time perception, the hyper-focus, is the mechanism by which this order is achieved. 2.3 The standardization of the mind. A crucial insight from the Acheulean record is the extreme standardization of the hand axe across vast distances and time frames, Africa, Europe, Asia. This suggests that the deep construction state was not just an individual experience but a shared cognitive mode. The ability to replicate a standard form implies a collective mind, or socialized attention. The apprentice napper watches the master and enters the same rhythm, the same posture, and effectively the same neural state. This somatic entrainment allows for the transmission of complex skills without complex language. The meaning is shared through the shared experience of the material resistance. This establishes the deep historical precedent. Human social cohesion was originally forged in the collective silence of material labor, not the collective noise of debate. 3. The technician of the sacred. Shamanism is technical labor. As human societies transitioned to the Upper Paleolithic and Neolithic, the generalized capacity for deep construction evolved into specialized roles. The most prominent of these, often misunderstood through a religious lens, is the shaman. A functionalist neuro-anthropological analysis reveals shamanism not as a belief system, but as a form of specialized technical labor utilizing the deep construction state. 3.1 Shamanism is the first profession. Anthropologists Michael Winkelmann and others have identified shamanism as the first profession, the first institutionalized division of labor beyond age and sex. While every member of the tribe might engage in low-level ritual, the shaman is a specialist. They are hired to solve intractable problems, curing a persistent illness, locating migratory game, or influencing the weather. Crucially, the shaman's authority is meritocratic and performative, not doctrinal. A priest retains authority even if his prayers are not answered, because his authority is derived from the institution, the church. A shaman who fails to heal or find game loses their status. Their authority is derived entirely from efficacy. This aligns the shaman closer to the master craftsman or the engineer than to the priest. They are technicians of the sacred. 3.2 The shamanic state of consciousness, SSC, as a tool. The primary technology of the shaman is the shamanic state of consciousness, SSC. This is a specific, altered state of consciousness, USH, entered into volitionally to perform cognitive work. Neurophysiology of the SSC. Modern neuroimaging of shamanic practitioners reveals that the SSC is distinct from both pathology, psychosis, and relaxation, meditation. It is characterized by an integrative mode of consciousness. The posterior shift, EEG mapping shows a shift in dominance from the anterior prefrontal cortex, the seat of the narrative, analytical self, to the posterior somatosensory and visual cortices. This posterior shift implies a downregulation of the ego, and an upregulation of sensory processing and pattern recognition. Theta wave synchronization. The SSC is marked by high-amplitude theta waves, 4 to 8 Hz. Theta states are associated with the integration of disparate information, lucid dreaming, and the retrieval of deeply stored memories. This allows the shaman to access metis, cunning, intuition that is inaccessible in the waking beta state. 3.3 The technology of entrainment, sonic driving. How does the shaman enter the state without drugs? The primary mechanism is sonic driving. The rhythmic beating of the shaman's drum, typically at 4 to 7 beats per second, corresponds exactly to the theta frequency range of the human brain. This is somatic entrainment. The auditory system drives the neural oscillations of the brain, locking them into the theta state. This is a mechanical, biological interaction, not a mystical one. Just as the napper is entrained by the strike of the stone, the shaman is entrained by the beat of the drum. This rhythmic framework acts as a carrier wave, allowing the shaman to navigate the chaos of the trance without descending into psychosis. Comparison to psychosis. While the imagery of shamanism, spirits, transformation overlaps with schizophrenic hallucinations, the structure is opposite. Psychosis, involuntary, overwhelming, loss of control, social isolation. Shamanism, voluntary, controlled, purpose-driven, socially integrated. The shaman is not a madman, they are a healed madman who has mastered the technology of navigating the deep state. They construct meaning out of the chaotic signals of the unconscious, much like the napper constructs a tool out of the chaotic fracture planes of the rock. 4. The guild mind, tacit knowledge and somatic standards. As civilization advanced into the medieval and early modern periods, the solitary construction state of the napper and the ecstatic labor of the shaman were formalized into the guild. The guild represents the socialization of the deep construction state, stabilizing it through rigorous training and material standards. 4.1 Tacit knowledge, the secret that cannot be spoken. The central problem of high-level craftsmanship is that the core skills cannot be verbalized. You cannot write a manual on how to feel the correct viscosity of molten glass or the tension of a loom. This is tacit knowledge, a concept developed by Michael Polanyi. We know more than we can tell. The guild system was designed to transmit this unspeakable knowledge. The mechanism was apprenticeship. This was not an intellectual education, it was a somatic transfer. The apprentice lived with the master, observed the master, and imitated the master's micro-movements for years, often 7 years. Asterisk mirror neurons. Neurobiologically, this relies on the mirror neuron system. By observing the master's action, the apprentice's premotor cortex activates as if they were performing the action. Over thousands of hours, the apprentice's nervous system is tuned to the master's. They do not learn the rules of the craft, they learn the rhythm of the craft. 4.2 The masterpiece is material anchor. In the guild, authority was vested in the masterpiece. To become a master, one had to produce an object that met the collective standards of the guild. This object served as an irrefutable, material anchor. In religious systems, a good priest is one who adheres to doctrine, a subjective and often political judgment. In the guild, a good joiner is one whose joint holds. The material world does not lie. This material honesty provides a profound psychological stability. The craftsman knows who they are because they can see what they have done. Their identity is anchored in the physical world, protecting them from the identity diffusion that plagues the modern knowledge worker. Table 2. The evolution of the deep construction state. Epoch practitioner, primary constraint, mechanism of state entry, social output. Paleolithic, Napa, material physics, stone, rhythmic percussion, survival tool, hand axe, pre-modern, shaman, autonomic nervous system, sonic driving, drumming, social healing, information, medieval, guildsman, material standards, craft, mimetic entrainment, the masterpiece, commodity, modern, coder, surgeon, abstract logic, protocol, cognitive loop, the zone, digital artifact, procedure. 4.3 Material consciousness. Richard Sennett, in The Craftsman, describes the state as material consciousness. It is the state where the craftsman is engaged in a continuous dialogue with the material. The material resists, the wood has a grain, the clay has a slump. The craftsman must listen to this resistance and adjust. This dialogue creates a deep focus that excludes the outside world. It is a form of secular prayer, a communion with the physical laws of the universe. 5. The neurology of the void, cognitive mechanisms. To understand why these practices persist and why they are effective, we must look at the specific neurobiological mechanisms that underpin them. The deep construction state is not a metaphor, it is a measurable physiological event. 5.1 Transient hypofrontality, the biology of selflessness. The subjective experience of losing oneself in work, whether it is the shaman in trance or the coder in the night, is explained by the transient hypofrontality hypothesis. The prefrontal cortex (PFC) is the evolutionarily newest part of the brain. It is responsible for temporal integration, tracking time. Asterisk self-reflection, the I. Asterisk social anxiety, the inner critic. Asterisk working memory. The PFC is metabolically expensive. When the brain is tasked with a high-speed, pattern-matching activity, like jazz improvisation or rapid coding, the brain initiates a resource redistribution. It shuts down the slow, expensive PFC to allocate energy to the faster sensory motor cortices. The consequence. Asterisk timelessness. With the temporal processing centers offline, minutes feel like hours, or hours like minutes. Asterisk silence. The inner critic goes mute. The voice of doubt, am I doing this right, what will people think, disappears because the neural substrate generating it is inhibited. Asterisk flow. The self, the ego construct, dissolves. There is no longer a doer and a deed, there is only the doing. 5.2 The role of theta waves and the zone. While the PFC downregulates, other systems upregulate. Deep construction states are often correlated with increased theta wave activity, 4 to 8 Hz. Theta waves are associated with asterisk memory retrieval, accessing long-term memory stores without conscious effort. Asterisk associative thinking, making novel connections between disparate ideas. Asterisk plasticity, theta states are highly neuroplastic, allowing for rapid learning. In the zone, the brain is not relaxed, alpha state, nor stressed, high beta state, it is in a unique state of relaxed arousal. The repetitive micro-movements of the craftsman, sanding, typing, stitching, act as a pacing signal, entraining the brain to this theta rhythm. This somatic entrainment is the physiological key that unlocks the state. 5.3 Somatic markers and proprioception. The body provides a continuous stream of feedback known as proprioception, the sense of body position. In traditional craftsmanship, this feedback is rich and nuanced. The resistance of the tool against the material provides somatic markers, emotional, physical signals that guide decision making. Asterisk the feel. An expert surgeon feels the tissue quality through the scalpel. This information bypasses the visual cortex and goes directly to the motor cortex. This is faster than visual processing. The deep construction state relies on this high-speed, low-latency loop. When this loop is broken, as in disembodied digital work, the state becomes fragile. 6. Modern distortions. The crisis of disembodiment. The transition from an industrial economy, manipulation of atoms, to an information economy, manipulation of bits, has fundamentally altered the context of the deep construction state. While the cognitive mechanisms, hypofrontality, focus, remain, the material and somatic supports have been removed. This leads to pathological distortions of the state. 6.1 The digital trance. Coding is the new napping. Computer programming is the closest modern analog to Paleolithic lithic reduction. It involves the manipulation of abstract, rule-bound structures, syntax, to build a functional tool, software. Like the napper, the coder must maintain a complex hierarchical template in working memory. Coders frequently report entering the zone, a state of deep trance where the world falls away. However, this is often a disembodied trance. Asterisk the sensory deficit. The coder's mind is hyperactive, high theta, gamma, but their body is catatonic. There is no proprioceptive feedback. The resistance of the code is purely logical, not physical. Asterisk the fatigue. This decoupling leads to a specific type of exhaustion, wired but tired. The brain has run a marathon, but the somatic system hasn't discharged the energy. This often leads to insomnia, anxiety, and burnout, distinct from the good tired of physical labor. 6.2 The machine zone. Flow without agency. The most pernicious distortion is the machine zone. Anthropologist Natasha Schul coined this term to describe the state entered by slot machine gamblers. In the machine zone, the user enters a flow state characterized by asterisk total absorption, asterisk loss of time, asterisk loss of self, hypofrontality. However, unlike the craftsman or the shaman, the gambler has zero agency. The rhythm is dictated by the machine. The feedback loop is randomized, variable ratio reinforcement. The goal is not construction, making an object, but extinction, staying in the zone until the money runs out. Social media is slot machine. Modern digital interfaces, infinite scroll, TikTok, Instagram, are designed to induce the machine zone. They weaponize the deep construction instinct. They offer the feeling of flow, rapid visual processing, rhythmic scrolling, without the content of construction. This is zombie flow, a parasitic state that consumes the user's cognitive resources without producing meaning. 6.3 MC Mindfulness and institutional capture. As the stress of the attention economy mounts, institutions have responded by co-opting the technologies of the deep state. This is the phenomenon of MC mindfulness. Corporations offer meditation pods and flow training to employees. However, this is a decontextualized practice. Asterisk instrumentalization. The goal is not enlightenment or craftsmanship, the goal is productivity and stress reduction. Asterisk individualization. It frames stress as a personal failure of mindfulness rather than a structural failure of the workplace. Asterisk the bureaucratization of charisma. Max Weber noted that charismatic states, like flow, are inherently unstable. Institutions try to routinize them. But you cannot schedule flow into a 9:05 Outlook calendar. The attempt to make the deep state legible to bureaucracy often destroys it. 7. Institutional formalization. The war on Metis. The conflict between the deep construction state and the modern institution is a conflict of knowledge systems. 7.1 Legibility vs. Metis. James C. Scott's concept of legibility explains why modern institutions struggle with craftsmanship. Asterisk legibility. The state corporation needs standard metrics. Everything must be measurable, comparable, and interchangeable. Asterisk metis. Craftsmanship relies on metis, cunning, local, embodied knowledge. The surgeons, feel, the coders, hack, the shamans, intuition. Metis is illegible. You cannot put the feel of the clay into a spreadsheet. Therefore, institutions try to eliminate Metis through best practices, checklists, and protocols. While these increase safety and standardization, they often eliminate the possibility of the deep construction state. The practitioner is forced to follow the script rather than the material, preventing the entry into flow. 7.2 The ritual of bureaucracy. Modern bureaucracy has created its own rituals: the meeting, the report, the compliance form. These are rituals of verification rather than rituals of construction. They do not produce meaning, they produce audit trails. Ritual efficacy vs. Ritual legibility. A shamanic ritual is judged by efficacy: did the patient get better? A bureaucratic ritual is judged by legibility: was the form filled out correctly? This shift from efficacy to legibility is a primary driver of the crisis of meaning in modern work. People feel empty because their labor does not result in a thing, an active sign, but merely in a record. 8. Reframing. Cognitive craftsmanship. To survive the machine zone and the bureaucracy, we must reclaim the deep construction state. We propose a framework of cognitive craftsmanship. This is the deliberate re-engineering of work and life to facilitate healthy, constructive entry into deep states using the principles of 4E cognition. 8.1 Re-anchoring the self, the need for material anchors. Identity diffusion, the feeling of being unreal or fragmented, is a symptom of a lack of material anchors. The mind needs physical objects to offload cognitive structures. Cognitive craftsmanship strategy. Return to the physical. The resurgence of maker culture, sourdough, knitting, woodworking among digital elites is a therapeutic response. It is an attempt to engage the proprioceptive system. The honest object, a physical object, a loaf of bread, a knitted scarf, offers material honesty. It cannot be spun or marketed to oneself. It simply is. This provides an anchor for the self-concept that the digital world cannot. 8.2 The Zeigarnik effect and closure. The digital world is a world of open loops. The Zeigarnik effect states that the brain retains unfinished tasks in working memory, creating tension. Digital work, email, Slack, is rarely finished. This leads to chronic cognitive leak. Cognitive craftsmanship strategy. Tangible finishing. We must design work that has clear, stop states. The commit in coding, the print in design. These are modern rituals of closure. Objectification, externalizing the mental state into an artifact, a document, a drawing, a model, allows the brain to let go of the process. The object holds the memory so the brain doesn't have to. 8.3 From flow to state crafting. We must move from the passive consumption of flow experiences via drugs or media to the active crafting of states. Ritual as trigger. Using specific entry rituals, clean desk, specific music, physical warm-up to prime the brain for hypofrontality. Friction is friend, seeking out resistance. The machine zone is frictionless, deep construction is high friction. The friction, the difficulty of the code, the weight of the hammer, is what activates the central executive and prevents the zombie flow. 9. Conclusion. The deep construction state is not a mystical anomaly reserved for the saint or the genius. It is the evolutionary birthright of the human species. We are Homo faber, man the maker. Our brains were sculpted by the resistance of stone, the rhythm of the drum, and the logic of the weave. For 2 million years, we found meaning not in what we believed, but in what we made. The void of the deep state was not a terrifying emptiness, but a generative space where the self dissolved and the world was born. The modern crisis is a crisis of context. We have kept the brain but lost the stone. We have kept the trance but lost the agency. The result is a civilization that is increasingly addicted to the feeling of doing, the machine zone, while forgetting the meaning of doing, craft. The path forward lies in cognitive craftsmanship, the recognition that the state of our minds depends on the work of our hands. By re-engaging with the material world, by respecting the illegible nature of tacit knowledge, and by building material anchors for our identity, we can reclaim the deep construction state from the machine and the bureaucrat. We can return to the architecture of the void, not to lose ourselves, but to build ourselves anew. Data Appendix. Table 3. Comparative analysis of flow states. Feature: deep construction, craft, shamanic trance, SSC, machine zone, gambling, MC mindfulness. Goal: production, mastery, healing, information, extinction, time on device, stress reduction, agency, high, user controls process, high, volitional entry, low, system controls user, medium, guided, materiality, high, tool, material resistance, high, somatic drum, low, screen, button, low, mental only, outcome, artifact, inactive sign, social reintegration, financial, time loss, temporary relaxation, neurology, hypofrontality plus theta, hypofrontality plus theta, hypofrontality plus dopamine loop, alpha waves, cited source index. Paleolithic tool making cognition lithic reduction ritual lithic technology, social learning, innovation stone tools in the evolution of human cognition cognitive demands of lower Paleolithic tool making material engagement theory Milleforus symbol formation the major postulates of material engagement theory win review of Milleforus. Gibson's theory of affordances in Met cultural evolution of shamanism shamanism and the psychosis continuum shamanism in cognitive evolution finding flow, seamwork turning on flow means turning off parts of the brain flow state neurology. Transient hypofrontality minds in movement, embodied cognition embodied cognition, Wikipedia, neurological basis of ritual trance vs flow state shamanic trance brain function neural correlates of trance Catherine Bell ritual theory stone tools, language and the brain miracle making and preservation of charisma charismatic authority, Wikipedia, repetitious ritual and efficacy evaluating ritual efficacy MC mindfulness critique the mindfulness conspiracy commodification of mindfulness Richard Sennett the craftsman making is thinking, Sennett, clans, guilds, and markets role of apprenticeship history of guilds theta wave activity repetitive somatic entrainment Zeigarnik effect psychological phenomena of flow programmer fatigue vs flow why coding makes you tired coding trance-like state. Based neurophysiological indices for expert performance phenomenological mapping of shamanic states ancient healing practices and shamanism material anchors of the self psychological stabilizing effect of object creation James C. Scott seeing like a state summary Scott and Foucault on legibility an active mind and 4E cognition affordances in 4E cognition craft and participating consciousness machine zone gambling social media addiction and machine zone Natasha Schul machine zone. Hutchins material anchors PDF identity diffusion need for tangible results intrinsic motivation and tangible results. Crafts as functional mental health craft as therapy.